So now to see this in action, let's look at an example of a traditional song in a key other than the key of C that has some automatic flats or sharps. Let's look at canon in D, and what it means by in D is it's in the scale of D major. So looking at the beginning of the line here, you are told that you have to automatically make all the C's and all the F's sharp throughout this whole song. So that makes it so students, as they're going through, they would have to memorize that these are sharp, and these are sharp, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So you can see how there are many opportunities to run into a mistake without having a teacher sitting right by you, reminding you which notes to make sharp or flat. And they would also have to know for sheet music with naturals, like we talked about before. For example, in this sheet music, you have a natural here, here, here. So it's telling you on this song to automatically make all the B's, E's, and A's flat. But then remember, if you have a natural on one note, you're supposed to do it throughout the whole rest of the measure. And if a note is made flat, you're supposed to play that flat throughout the whole rest of the measure. And so it can get extremely complicated to have your hands on the white keys and to reach to the correct black note and to remember which to keep as a flat or a sharp or a natural. It takes a lot of reps when it isn't pre-marked for you. So you can see, since these rules have to really become ingrained in a student, then you could see now why this could lead to so many mistakes or forgetting to play the proper black note or even playing a wrong note and not knowing how to fix it. My traditional students forgot all the time and had to be reminded, or I had to go through and pre-mark all their sharps or flats to make sure they could succeed at home practice and be able to self-correct. With traditional students, the goal is to read off the page without the markings, but you can see how many reps and how many weeks and how much correcting and having to get used to each scale that would actually take. So you can see why in Piano with Ease that I just wanted to completely simplify everything for you and just mark every flat and sharp that you were supposed to play, so you'd actually be playing in other keys without having had to memorize anything about that key. You could just be reading what you need right off of the page. Another reason why people learn to play all the different scales and keys is so that they can play any sheet music the way a composer originally wrote it. For example, this canon song that we have in stage 2, its real name, like we said, is Pachelbel's Canon in D, because it was written in this key of D major, which meant all the C's and F's were automatically sharp. So I took that song and transposed it and made my own stage 2 arrangement for a Piano with Ease students that was in the key of C major, so it could be on all the white notes, which allows you to learn it so much faster. In fact, here is an interesting story to illustrate this. In my private teaching studio, I had a wonderful adult student who was determined. They set a goal for themselves to be able to play a version of Pachelbel's Canon in D that was in the original key with all the C's and the F's sharp. Now, this student was extremely busy, and they usually didn't get any practice outside of our lessons. If they were to ever watch this video, I wouldn't want them to be mortified at all, because I think it's a very worthy goal to want to play a certain arrangement of a song and to make sure that you get in and learn it the way it says. However, it has been 3 years for this song to get learned for this particular student, because it has been such a long time to be able to get used to the different spacing for when your fingers reach to the sharps or the flats and they're moving all around the piano like the canon left-hand chords move. So if we had taken that exact same version of the song and we put it one key, actually it's 2 half keys down, into the key of C major, then that song would have already been learned by now. So it's a worthy goal, like I said, but it's up to you. Do you want speed? Do you want to have the satisfaction of playing something sooner? Or do you want to say, I played this exactly as the composer originally wrote it? There are 2 different goals. You just have to be realistic about which goal you chose. Whereas if someone was going to learn the stage 2 version of Pachelbel's Canon, once you've gone through the stage 2 training and learned what to do, you could probably play through this song on your first try. It wouldn't be recital ready, of course, on your first time, but the fact that you will have been able to play through the entire song is really incredible. And it would take many reps, especially on this 3rd page where there's a lot of notes, to get it really to be able to play along with me in the tutorial video, but it would take nowhere near years if you were doing it a few times a week. And even if you decided to put in the optional left-hand variation, which is the skipping up down, then you could actually learn that much faster than if you were making yourself learn it off of the traditional note reading where you were having to memorize everything you saw. So you see why in Piano with Ease, everything is all about you being able to self-correct. Every black note's marked and highlighted in the right hand and in the left hand chords, so you don't have to memorize those rules. There's always reminders of what to do up in the skills boxes. And most of the songs you play in Piano with Ease will have been transposed to easier keys so that you can have the satisfaction and quick wins of being able to play that song faster. We don't have to remember music theory rules in Piano with Ease. Even if you're someone who eventually wants to move into playing traditional music, then I believe that playing the Piano with Ease songs first will actually help you because you will have seen musical concepts illustrated in such a visual way first. That way you can always, for example, imagine an orange hold arrows after your whole notes or your half notes when you see them in traditional music, when you're counting beats later on. Or you can remember that a double or a triplet is circled in a green circle. You can imagine that, and that will help you remember how that fits in one beat, for example. Or if you see a coda system, you can color code it in your head. Pink to the pink symbol, green to the green symbol. So you actually are picking up on some music theory in Piano with Ease in a different visual way that you can then later take with you on your later piano journey. So now that you've watched this far, I hope you have a better idea now about how the black note symbols are usually presented on traditional music and about the different scales and keys if you think you'll ever need that knowledge down the road. Again, you don't have to remember any of this video if you're just planning on sticking to playing the Piano with Ease music. All right, so lastly, I told you that at the end of this video, I'd show you an awesome feature that is on some keyboards and digital pianos where you can actually transpose easily. This is a super handy feature because you can still keep playing your regular songs on your white notes in the regular spot that you learned them, but it will sound like you're playing in different keys without you having to learn all the different scales, keys, and black note combinations. This allows you to play along with other instruments or singers easily, or even to accompany yourself while you sing in your best range in the easiest, most instant way. I will show you how my digital keyboard transposes, but all the models are different. In fact, I have another keyboard in my house that has no way built in to transpose, which is disappointing. I Googled it. And my son actually has a keyboard that is the very easiest to transpose on because his just has buttons on it that say transpose up or transpose down, and you can keep pushing those and playing until you find the key that works best. So you might have to Google your particular model of keyboard or digital piano and see if yours can transpose and what you'll need to do it. For my digital keyboard that I'm using right now, this is a Roland FP30. I'll show you what it has. So in this picture, you can see that I actually have on this back part of my keys, I have transpose, and it shows a certain range of notes like this. So for me, I would hold down this function button, which is right here, and I would press one of these notes in this range. It's a range from F, F sharp, G, G sharp, so I can press any of those and it will be in that key. So for example, here's my Mary Had a Little Lamb, again in the key of C. Let's say that I wanted to play it along with somebody whose voice had a higher range and they wanted me to start it on D. All I would do, instead of starting here, is I would hold my function down and I would press my D, and now I can still play in the exact same place, but it's going to sound like it's higher in the key of D. Isn't that awesome? And even on my blue digital keys that are lit up behind my keys, it's showing as if I was starting on the key of D, even if I'm still playing on the key of C. Let's say that somebody wants me to move it much higher, so I move it all the way up here in the key of F. Or if I wanted to play it much lower, I could hold my function and touch this way low F sharp. Now it sounds so deep, and you can see my digital keys are lit up as if I'm playing in that key, but I'm still just on my normal white keys. So that is a really fun way how you can transpose to be able to play in the same key as another instrument playing along with you or a singer. So let me put it back in the key of C. And now we're back to the normal key. Lastly, I'll show you how transposing worked on my son's keyboard, which I told you was the easiest one I've ever used transposing on. We used it so much we actually wore off the words, but it used to say transpose above these two buttons, and if we pressed this button here on the right, it would sound like our song was going up scale by scale incrementally the more times we pushed the button. And if we press this button here on the left, it would sound like it was getting lower by increments until we found the key that we wanted to play in, even though you were still playing here in the key of C. And on his digital readout, which was in the middle of his digital keyboard, then it would show right here whether we were 1 scale up, 2 scales up, 3, and so on. So isn't that an amazing trick? I hope you get a lot of use out of this, and perhaps post in the community how you're using it to inspire others.